Good morning children. For 10th standard we are continuing with the endocrine system and we are going to discuss about the pancreas gland and its function as an endocrine organ. I told you earlier also that pancreas is an exocrine as well as an endocrine gland. So it is a dual function. One way it is secretes certain from the pancreatic sinus cells, they secrete the enzymes, and from the follicular cells they secrete the hormone. Now there are three types of cells there. There are cells which secrete the hormone together. They are called the islets of Langerhans. And these islets of Langerhans are four types: the alpha cell, the beta cell, the delta cell, and the PP cell. Now these two particular cells, the function and the secretion of the hormone is not there in your course. Only you have to study about the alpha cell and the beta cell and their secretion and their functions. Now alpha cells, they secrete a hormone which is called glucagon, and glucagon helps in conversion of glycogen to glucose. Beta cells secrete the hormone insulin, which converts excess glucose to glycogen to be stored in the liver and the muscle. Now what are the functions of insulin? Like insulin, we know that it mainly helps in carbohydrate metabolism, particularly glucose. That means the excess glucose is converted to glycogen and stored in the liver and the muscle with help of this particular hormone. It also helps in the movement of the glucose into the cell membrane for oxidation and for generation of energy. Now, insulin not only helps in carbohydrate metabolism, it also helps in fat and protein metabolism. So, fat utilization or protein utilization in the body is also, is helped by the hormone insulin. Now, lack of insulin, causes certain types of disorder. If insulin is not produced sufficiently in the body, it leads to a type of disease which is called diabetes mellitus. And there are two types of diabetes. One is called diabetes 1 and diabetes 2. Diabetes 1 is basically, a type of insulin dependent, and diabetes 2 is non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Now, what happens in case of excess sugar in the body? The organs like kidney, the organs like heart, eyes, they are vulnerable to all types of disorders. Usually if the glucose is more, we say that if the excess glucose in the blood, the person suffers from hyperglycemia. Now hyperglycemia means the fasting blood sugar, FBS. FBS stands for fasting blood sugar is more than 100. And postprandial, that means 2 hours after you take a full meal, if the sugar is 140 milligram per deciliter of blood, we say the person is having a hyperglycemic patient, or he may be having what is called diabetes mellitus. So it should be always less than 100 and less than 140. But if it is too low, we say the person is hypoglycemic. So if a person is hyperglycemic, that means the insulin is not sufficient. It is not being produced in sufficient quantity. The person will have disorders like diabetes mellitus, which leads to various types of malfunctioning in the body. Now, the second hormone which I told you is the hormone which is called glucagon, secreted from the alpha cell. Now, alpha cell hormones usually, the glucagon helps in conversion of excess glycogen or glycogen to glucose. Now, glycogen to glucose is used or required when you are fasting. The body do not have sufficient glucose in the body, or you are doing a heavy exercise or you are running. That time, sometimes glycogen is converted to glucose. So this is done by the hormone glucagon. And even if glucagon is secreted too much, then the person can be hypoglycemic. Now, insulin shock. There is a term which you have come across. What is insulin shock? So those who are having no insulin in their body or total lack of insulin, in that case, person has to be supplemented with artificial insulin obtained from porcine insulin or bovine insulin earlier. Nowadays they are given human insulin, which is produced by recombinant DNA technology. Now if this insulin dose is controlled, has to be controlled in a person suffering from insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. So if the insulin is given more than that is required dose, then sometimes the blood sugar level falls very rapidly and a person can suffer from insulin shock, and that is dangerous for a person. A person can go into a coma state and that may cause certain trouble in the person, but it can be recovered by having just a piece of candy or sugar as a supplement of glucose. Now this is mainly about the pancreas hormone and their functions, the hormones and the regulation. Usually these two hormones are antagonistic hormones. Next is about the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland is located above the two kidneys. That's why they are called additional to the renal gland. Renal is the kidney, so they are called adrenal gland. And if you see the adrenal gland, there are two parts. The outer part is called the cortex and the inner part is called the medulla. The cortex is divided into three zones. The zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. And from this cortex there are three hormones secreted: the glucocorticoids, the mineralocorticoids and the sex corticoids or the androgen. And the adrenal medulla secretes mainly two hormones which are called the emergency hormone, which is adrenaline and noradrenaline. Now we are going to study about the adrenal gland in details in later classes, and just you go through that particular chapter and we'll know about this adrenal gland. And till then, thank you very much for this listening, and if you have any question you can put up the questions. Thank you.